Yes, welcome everyone. It is noon. It is Wednesday. It is time for the High Noon Hemp Show. That is if you are watching us live. If you're watching us later, thank you for doing so as well. As you see, there is officially episode 330 if you're keeping track at home. And I'm sure that you are. I'm, of course, Stoner Jesus. He is, of course, Beach. You can find us in various places. If you're on the Facebook, the old Facebook, it's the Temptations Beach Facebook page. We're live on there. If you're on the YouTubes, well, you got to look for Jedi Hemp on there and subscribe to that channel. Click the little notification bell and such so you know when we are live. If you're on X or if you call it Twitter still, that's cool. Find us at Hemptations on Twitter. Apparently, Beach, we've had some troubles the last few weeks with Beach hearing me, but apparently Beach can hear me now. Beach can hear me. He loves hemp. He is high above the Hemptations and the Flower Factory in Northside Beach. How are things this week in the world of Temptations?
It is true. I am high above the Temptations, which is inside the Flower Factory. It's kind of the same old tumultuous times. I know I'm not pronouncing that word right, but I'll get it straight at some point or another. I still have a while to work it out, I guess. Welcome, everyone. It is high noon. It's the first Wednesday of the year and the month. I expected the alarms to be a little louder. They sounded them. We're here. The show is happening. And apparently, we did not have audio. I mentioned it before the show that I was prepared for it this time. And so my phone must have listened and said, hey, wait.
Right. It heard you. It's like, oh, you think so, right?
Whoa.
Play you another curveball.
Welcome, everyone. Remember, the FDA has not evaluated this show for safety or efficacy. All right, let's go ahead, put our hands to our hemp hearts. I pledge allegiance to the hemp fields of America and to the soil in which it is planted. One seed under the sun with responsibility, sustainability, and thrivability for all. Well, I know there's a lot of stuff going on, but do you know what else today is, Stoner?
Oh, we're doing that this year. Okay. Hey, Beach, what day is it?
Hemp Day! Happy New Year! Happy New Year, everybody!
That's right.
Yes. Well, we have roughly 302 or so days until Section 781 of the appropriation bill goes into effect, basically making all hemp products pretty much null and void. It's just gonna be ridiculous what it's gonna do to the industry. Of course, Ohio is trying to do its thing. So we're going to see how all that plays out. We're already seeing like every side of every angle on this whole thing that Ohio's trying to do. So I don't know either way. Once again, Ohio doesn't have the legal authority to redefine what hemp is, and so they can't change that. And the rest of it's really gobbledygook anti-consumerism and whatnot. So we'll see how it all plays out in the long run. But we're just kind of hanging in there, doing our thing. I'm not really changing anything, nor should I have to. Either way, in the old Ohio area. So anyway, in the federal government, I don't know. I saw a headline that was like, because of this new supposed rescheduling, and don't everybody get too excited yet, because now that everybody's actually finding what rescheduling means, now they're kind of like, whoa, Mr. President, I don't think we want you to really, let's just go ahead and deschedule, which he doesn't want to do.
All right.
He's still an old fucking anti-marijuana crony. Honestly, he doesn't get it. He comes out and he says, yes, it obviously has medical benefits and we should have it for that, but we shouldn't have it recreationally. And to that I say all cannabis use is medicinal.
Indeed.
So it doesn't make any difference. You call, put the sign on the front of the door, which actually you can't even do in Ohio. but indicating that you're selling cannabis, and it doesn't make it's medical marijuana is no different than recreational marijuana, and again, it is all therapeutic. Okay, and so, and once again, Mister T. Rump President, why don't I mean, I know that this rescheduling helps do the medical studies, but let's get to the safety studies right out of the gate. Like, again, you're saying you're not for this for me to enjoy recreationally, but you're okay with me using it medically. All right. And so, that puts it on the same lines as opiates, pharmaceuticals. It's like, yeah, pharmaceuticals are okay if your doctor's prescribing them to you, but they're 100% illegal if they're not, even though the person is still getting the benefit, whether you call it recreational or whatever. And so, regulating, not regulating any of that is just stupid. It's just stupid, honestly. At this point, I mean, we're well beyond having to take stages to make this legal federally. And and I've always said, if it happened federally, how this affects the hemp industry, and it does in a huge way. Even though hemp is federally legal, at least for another 300 days or so, if marijuana, what they call marijuana, is made federally legal, then that makes hemp look even less demonized. And hemp is still demonized. Anywhere that you have to pay excess fees to grow hemp, demonized. Anywhere you have to go through all these crazy hoops and ladders just to make a hemp product, demonized. All right? A 100% legal agricultural crop. This ban, Section 781 of the Appropriations Bill, this ban demonizes hemp. And he says it's for the kids and it's a safety thing and all that. And once again, the same argument I've been making for 30 years on the side of my opinion of marijuana is prove it's unsafe, and then tell me it should be illegal anyway. So 2026 is I just can't believe that in 2026 hemp is going backwards. I mean, we finally got the ball moving forwards, and we went through the boom, and then COVID and everything else pretty much shut down the boom, and now we're kind of steadying out, and flower growth honestly is going down, and grain and fiber growth is going up slightly. But and everybody's like, "Oh, this federal ban won't affect that," and I'm like, again, let's talk in June or July when the seeds are in the ground or the plants are in the fields. How many plants are in the field and all that, because no one's going to go out of their way to grow for grain or fiber if they're just even slightly afraid that at the end of the year, shortly after their harvest, the whole thing's going to be illegal. Why would you put hemp seed in the ground knowing whatever you're growing it for, that there's a potential that the market is going to take a zero market share? It's not going to exist. There will be zero market. And one sense is they say it won't affect CBD, but it will affect full spectrum CBD. It won't affect CBD as an isolate. And again, ridiculous. The more we take away from what's inside that flower, the less productive all those things that's in that flower are. The only true way to get all of the benefits of cannabis in flower form is flower form. I should say, in an ingestible form, is the flower form because it has everything in it still. Um, and and so, you know, here we are. We're still going. Happy New Year! Happy New Year again, everybody. All right, well, let's get on with some fun stuff. Um, get that grouchy old stuff out of the way early. Let's get on with the product spotlight. 4 from the store, 1 from my door here on the High Noon Hemp Show. The first one are the hemp hoodlum, and I call these winter paperboy because they have the faux fur lining. They're pretty thick, and it's not a very good picture. I mean, I guess I really should put one on my head and model it, or I don't know what happened to all my styrofoam heads and whatnot, but it's a good old hemp hoodlum though, and I do believe, and I didn't verify it, but I'm pretty sure there's a pocket in the top of the hat or somewhere in there as well. So there you have that. Tis the season for some winter gear, no doubt about it. So there's the top hand glove, hemp headwear. Um, so you got kind of a beanie hat. You actually have like a kind of a heavier kind of build. It's a beanie with a bill, and then those are scarves over there on the right to at least keep the head and neck warm. It's kind of weather's kind of warmed up a little bit here, little, but we got cold weather coming. I don't doubt about that.
It'll go back.
We will definitely get some more cold weather. We have to have at least one more good snow, I feel like, or I'm not going to be satisfied with this winter. Either way. So. All right. We got some new gummies in, and these are the Fire Knockout Blend. And the reason they're called the Knockout Blend because everything in them basically will get you a great night's sleep. Between the Delta 9, Delta 8, of course, you got that CBN in there, which is definitely one of the that helps with sleep. Cannabinoids, THCA, THC. Might as well call it Delta 9, but it's THCA. So quite a bit of stuff in there to get you a good night's sleep, or if you really like that indica buzz, these will definitely probably put you in the couch. And then, I forget sometimes we carry a lot of other hemp papers other than raws because I tend to show the raws a lot. But the OC Beats, which is another cheap brand, that's what OC Beats stands for. They've got, or I've got their organic hemp king size papers. And so, I often forget to give credit to a lot of the other paper companies. And here's something that I'm working on publishing or trying to figure out how to publish. But I found our paper book. I made a book of papers pre-raw. So this would have been before raw existed as a paper company. And I think we had, it would have been, I don't know, probably 97, 98. By 98, we had the wall of papers. And I think I found that we were carrying at that time, 1998, we were carrying, I think, 30 something different hemp papers alone already. So, and then along came raw, and they pretty much just started blowing it away. And again, on top of the hemp, and I don't even have any of these in the book, but we did have. I'm pretty sure at that time, or shortly after, at least. No, I think by that time they were already doing the like Royal Blunt had the hemp wraps, blunt wraps, and so we, at some point or another, we had at least probably 15 different flavors of those, and I've got 10 different flavors of the hemp, high hemp wraps now. We've got, we probably have 20 different wraps to choose from there. So um, again, I'm not saying that I've been true to my word since the day we opened up, but I've been true to my word since the day we opened up when it comes to hemp on every level of every resource that we can. So anyway, now the one for my door is the oldest. I'm pretty sure, I keep running through my head because I don't think I have anything older. This is the oldest hemp product in my collection of hemp goods, part of my world record breaking hemp goods collection. This is the Reign of Law, a Kentucky Hemp Fields story. And this copy is printed on hemp paper. So I have not read it, and I feel terrible. And I've been thinking about that because I am a reader and I do like books, and I can't believe in the 20 years that I've had this book in my collection that I've never read it. But I am going to close the show today by reading I'm going to give it away. I'm going to spoiler alert. I'm going to read the last couple paragraphs of the book. So, get yourself ready for that. It's going to be very dramatic.
Right.
I don't know about that. I'll see what I can come up with. Now, speaking of world record breakers.
Indeed. If you're just joining us, and it's like the first time you've ever seen the show, you kind of get the idea. Beach has a lot of hemp products, whether it's clothing or various other products from decades of research and buying and searching and just going all over the world for hemp and bringing hemp and hemp information to you. Through the course of all that, of course, he has set and holds many hemp records. As we've said many times, the Guinness World Records, the organization we all look to as the standard for these kinds of things, they outright refuse is their policy. No cannabis records, no hemp records, none of that. But they will literally cover anything else. Anything else you can do or think of to happen in this world, they will make some sort of record out of it, and they will send a crew apparently to go film these people and chronicle what they're doing. We chronicle what Beach is doing here. Guinness World Records covers everything else, and I like to go to their X page every Wednesday to see what they have going on. I will warn you, if you have an aversion to people sticking things up their nose, may want to turn away for the next 30 to 60 seconds as we discuss this man right here. Martin Stroby stuck 81 matches up his nose and held them there, which apparently is the world record. 81 matches up his nose. You see the look on his face. It seems very pleasant.
What a moron.
Too. This is what the Guinness World Records, I don't know how many millions of dollars in revenue these people bring in every year. This is what they're focused. This guy, he's sitting in his driveway shoving matches up his nose. I mean, are we really? This is really what we're doing, and apparently it is, because this is the actual Guinness World Records X. It's not a parody. It's not satire. It's a guy in his driveway shoving 81 matches up his nose with an official Guinness World Records person watching him to make sure that he breaks this record and make sure that it's official. Oh man, a person when they're paying to do this, a crew. They send a crew. Anyway, we don't have a crew. It's just me, and it's Beach, and Beach's decades worth of hemp collecting and buying and searching to bring us to this point where we will chronicle all of the records that Beach has set and currently holds in the hemp world. And in the beachwear segment, we focus on the clothing. When I ask Beach one very simple question, what are you wearing, Beach?
It's true. If you're curious, what are you wearing, Beach? Now you will know. It is a Kentucky Wednesday, so the Kentucky Wildcats play tonight. So I'm trying to be blue. I'm not. I'm not doing a great job of it because it's a tough team this year. So
Mm,
it's like I'm wearing black and blue today because that's kind of how I feel about this Kentucky Wildcat team. But anyway, on the old head there, that is a head case 100% hemp Kentucky hat. My jacket is a Smith Center. Uh, and I may have worn this one time before, maybe on the show. This may be the first time that this particular jacket has made it onto the High Noon Hemp Show. What are you wearing, Beach segment? But also, Smith Center was in Kentucky when they were operating. Um, yeah, you've got a head case T-shirt. Underneath that is a Young Maven long sleeve. Um, my jeans are my Kentucky Hemp Outfitters. Green Springs Technology pen there in my pocket. Um, got a pair of Hemptopia briefs up there in the corner. And then my socks are Satori, and those are a pair of Adidas Sambas. Um, I didn't realize how much actually stuff that I was wearing was actually made in Kentucky. Might be the most amount of stuff that I have made that's made in Kentucky because my hat was, in fact, that they were the head cases out of New Jersey, but the hat that I got was from Kentucky Hemp Outfitters. He had just made a little bit of a run, and we were both, because he's in Louisville, both Wildcat fans. And so, and again, I'd forgotten that Smith Center was in, I believe, Louisville as well when they were up and on. And they may, Smith Center still may, I don't think they make hemp jackets anymore, and I don't even know if they exist as a jacket company, but uh, either way, it's a lot of Kentucky. So hopefully, and again, we're not playing a ranked team, so I suspect that we'll do just fine tonight.
right.
Anyway, there you have it, folks. If you're curious, what are you wearing, Beach? Now you know, from head to toe, here on the High Noon Hemp Show. All right, well, I'm going to bust out one of the old trailers to a movie that never got made. So enjoy this, and we'll be back with the news.
Pumped. Pumped for hemp.
Man, if you are not ready to get your day started after that in some hemp, I can't help you. You need to go on a hemp quest.
Yes. That hemp patient.
Oh, well, New Zealand might be the first, and I don't think they are the first, but I do believe there is one other country that has done this already, and I believe I reported on it, and I forget already. I should remember, but New Zealand is going to go to 1% THC in their hemp, and this is a move by a country that wants hemp to succeed for every reason in their country. All right. because they're, over the last couple of years or so, at least, I know that I have shown, food product coming out of New Zealand, the hemp motorcycles coming out of New Zealand, and if I really have to think, I talk about a lot of hemp on the show, and this is the 330th episode, and so not remembering everything that New Zealand has done, but I will have to say that I see New Zealand a lot. As far as a country where hemp products are coming out of, and now where they're proving that they want to they want to make it easier for hemp farmers in New Zealand, not make it harder like here
Yeah.
in America, and that's not great at all. But anyway, so Greenway Herbal Products has been issued a patent for a 1-to-1 CBD CBDA concoction. I don't know what it. They didn't actually say what it is. Is it a tincture or what? But they did receive a patent for it. So what that means is no one else can make a CBD like a one. Let's say like a bottle of 300 milligram CBD, 300 milligram CBDA. That would be an infringement on their patent. Now, can you just put 350 milligrams of CBD and 350 milligrams, or I'm sorry, 300 milligrams of CBDA? 100%. That's not a 1-to-1 ratio. I mean, for the sake of not breaking that patent, you could say 301 milligrams of CBD and 299 milligrams of CBDA, not a 1-to-1 ratio.
Yeah.
But thus begins the land race for patents on these type of things, and this is how they have to do it. Okay, they cannot put a patent on a CBD tincture. Okay, but they can get a patent for a CBD tincture that has a unique formulation, whatever that may be. Very, very possibly. And again, now what we're going to start seeing, and we can't see the THC yet, but we could start possibly seeing, say, a 1-to-1 ratio of CBD and THCA. THCA is still legal federally. And so all these, I can only imagine. And I am actually somewhat surprised that this may be one of, and I may be wrong on, there may be a lot of CBD patents that have been issued out there. I honestly don't know. I wouldn't even know how to find out how many patents that there may be related to CBD products. But they have to be, they can't just be CBD. You cannot patent that. Because guess what? That's a naturally occurring product of the world, and you cannot patent nature. That's why pharmaceutical companies replicate, synthesize the nature. And then they can own that because it started as petrochemicals, fossil fuels, whatever. And then they made it into the genetic profile of willow bark or opiates. So anyway, that's going to be interesting. Of course, I mean, whether this is this one will stay pretty safe because these are isolates and it's CBD and CBDA is CBD. Um, and so once again, it's the exact same situation with that as it is with THCA and THC. They're basically the same, um, but need a little boost to turn them into uh, that thing, whatever it may be. So, uh, and again, there are an endless amount of formulations, literally an endless amount of formulations. And it's going to be kind of scary to see, like all of the formulations that people try to put a patent on or whatnot. So it's getting, it's the way of America. And again, it is a way of putting a patent on nature. I don't know what else is in this product that makes it unique. And I'm not sure that, because CBDA is a naturally occurring part of cannabis. CBD is a huge naturally occurring. We could boost those numbers. CBDA is maybe kind of underlying, not as high in percentage wise, but I'm guessing we can boost those numbers as well. Excuse me, as we have with THCA. Either way, I mean, what we can do through breeding is straight up insane. And what they are finding with enzymes. Now, I'm going to segue right into the next story. Um, is they have figured out, science has figured out, that cannabis did not start with THC. Now, I don't know what they don't know, and they didn't say what cannabis started with. Oh well, kind of did. I mean, I believe that they think that maybe it started with CBG, which we know is a precursor uh, to a lot of the cannabinoids. But it was enzyme production throughout the plant's evolution that brought along the higher concentrations of THC. And so now there's going to be, and again, this is where we go to the old genetically engineered cannabis. All right, because if the enzymes are the precursors to the cannabinoids, then now we introduce enzymes of either, uh, either of cannabis or different strains of cannabis, or, and again, that makes sense, in a way, genetically modifying. I'm okay with taking, like the enzyme from a cannabis, a fiber cultivar, and embedding it into a grain cultivar, which gives you this 12-foot tall, full flower of seeds hemp plant. It's a dual, at the very least, a dual production plant. When you grow for seed, you can use that stalk for the fiber. You can use that stalk to build houses with. And again, that was waste in Canada for a long time. And the Canadians are now figuring it out because of the hempcrete interest, that all that stock that they burned at the end of the year after collecting the grain for their grain industry actually had better use. I mean, even if it's short fiber, um, you know, insulation, all kinds of things from the short fiber. And then once again, what we call the hurd, the outside, that those little chips, a lot of times it's called shiv in the world, is where we make the hempcrete, or we get the animal bedding. It's the same stuff. There, every grower, farmer of hemp at the end of the year should have zero waste. Zero waste. You know, if you've got a deal to sell your grain at the end of the year, that's great. Then take that biomass of the stalks and offer it to anybody for cheap. Just as I mean, you know, come and get it. It's a huge amount of biomass. Pay me a little bit as a bonus and go make some clothes out of it, or go build some houses out of it. Do both. Make some fiber insulation out of the fiber and some hempcrete out of the hurd, instead of me having to pile it up and burn it and not know what to do with it. I mean, again, it's so bizarre, bizarre how this is. And again, it is starting to work out this way. Just like I said, 10 years ago, the Canadians burned, I would almost guess, 90% of their stock waste biomass at the end of the year, they burned. And now, once again, because of the interest in hempcrete alone, that stock biomass, they're really starting to now not try to burn it and get it into the hands of people that can use it for its great properties, for that matter. So, um, but again, you know, I digress to where this started, and you know, if you've watched the show before, you know how I can venture. Um, you know, this uh, enzyme science predating, you know, THC, and you know, the plant didn't start that way. But this is just my hypothetical or hypothesis. I would put this hypothesis out there, and I would love for someone to prove it. I would say that as the plant came down in altitude, because it starts at 10,000 feet, cannabis got its birth at 10,000 feet up, 10,000 feet above sea level. This is a proven fact. And then it moved its way down the Tibetan Plateau into the hands of humanity. It took 28 million years. Okay. And as it moved down, it had more predators. So it boosts that THC and whatever else, as a chemical to convince predators not to eat it. You know, this is just my hypothesis on why, if it didn't start with THC, why it may started making THC, and then those plants were, you know, more successful in a sense to be proven to be the medicinal plants. And you know, it's very possible that the variation of the agrarian growth of hemp by humans, which started, you know, roughly 10,000, you know, one of the first, you know, it only took 5,000 years for it to be a main source of food for the Chinese, and in India. And then in China, we know for a fact that then it also becomes a main source of clothing, which then turns into paper. So at some point or another, as all that's happening, then they're finding that some of these plants, like, I don't know, the theory of the Greeks enjoying. Oops, I forgot to plug in. The Greeks enjoying hemp therapeutically was that they were just throwing the flowers on the fire, kind of as an incense thing, and then all of a sudden they were, amongst all the wine drinking, noticed that it made them feel a little funny. So, the history of the medicinal, and I mean, and again, all that comes from the agricultural use for the food and the fiber. The medicine came later. That I do know. Either way. Okay. Well, so we'll see now all these enzymes and all, now we get science and needles involved and, all the small little parts. So, I have no problem with trying to figure out how to produce a taller hemp cultivar for fiber, even though, for the most part, we worked that at Hemp Traders, which has the world record for the tallest hemp plant at 24.4, I believe. Um, that cultivar exists naturally. So there you have, we just spread that. It's easy. Hopefully they're selling that seed to hemp fiber growers all over the world. For the grain industry, it's finding that, my brain says the evolution is trying to figure out how to breed and get the producer of larger seeds. And again, naturally, um, but that's the thing. Is like, can we figure out, like, we got to find that cannabis cultivar that is known for having larger seeds, and then just boost that. And then the grain industry, again, you get just as many seeds, but they're bigger, so you're getting more weight. And the amount of biomass we're already getting out of an acre of hemp is absurd. And again, if you're getting something out of the grain, you're getting paid to grow the grain, and then you got that bonus biomass of the stalk. Again, I don't even understand why it's just not done more and more and more. And well, I do understand, because it's a simple economics issue: supply and demand. We need to keep demanding it. They need to keep supplying it. So therefore, more and more farmers are growing it.
Yeah.
Pure and simple. And that's what we're here for, to educate everyone on hemp, so you can go out in the world and say, this is why you should do it. Anyway. That is my whole evil plan to begin with. If you don't know, hempcellent. Anyway. So there was an article, 11 types of bedsheet materials and the best way to clean them. And what I thought was, the first one was the cotton. And their whole shtick there is it's durable. And I'm like, no. If you buy really expensive 300 count, 400 count thread, then maybe they're semi-durable. But your regular old cheap sheets people are buying are not durable. Okay, made out of cotton. And of course, hemp is 6 times stronger than cotton. And of course, hemp is on the list, but they make it 11th on the list. And what's really interesting, again, they say, hemp sheets are breathable, but may need to soften over time, which I'm calling bull hemp on because, all right, linen was on the list. Guess what? We can weave hemp to replicate linen, which is normally made from flax. But linen is a weave more at this point than it is necessarily a fiber. And hemp, we can make hemp linen. So we got that covered. Silk was also on the list, which again, the spiders die in the end, or the worms. The worms die in the end, whatever it is. I forget it's worms actually, silkworms, but they don't make it out. So that is not great. All right. It's definitely not natural. But guess what we can do? We can weave hemp as smooth as silk. I have hemp silk pillowcases. And of course, there was a study recently that showed that sleeping on hemp silk was good for the skin. And then, we get down to hemp at the bottom of the list. And again, they had like polyester, no oil products. No oil products when it comes to clothing or bedding or anything. Stop now. Just proven that that's a terrible, terrible idea. Polyester is the worst. It's the highest selling synthetic out there, and it's the worst. It's inside you right now. I don't know. It most more than likely is inside you, as we have proven that nanoplastics are everywhere and inside us everywhere in every form. Terrible idea. So the whole soften over time is ridiculously stupid. I mean, the true set of like hemp sheet material that we got did not need to be softened. It didn't at all. And so, that's like a misnomer that I can't believe. And then they don't even mention the fact that hemp is antimicrobial and antibacterial naturally. It's a proven fact. Again, like if you were boasting hemp as a material and you don't know that it's antibacterial and antimicrobial, then go beyond an AI search. And so, anyway. Yeah. And then they mentioned something about line drying for longevity. And again, I have been washing all of my hemp clothing, sheets, everything, regular washer and dryer, cold water, um, warm air for the most part. And longevity has nothing to do with it. And again, you're going to tell us how to line dry the hemp for longevity, but don't explain that it's 4 to 6 times stronger than cotton? The only fiber or the only material, I mean, the polyester, yes, much stronger. Silk is in fact stronger, but again, not natural. But the only like natural fiber on the list, hemp is the strongest out of all the other natural fibers, cotton and flax and bamboo, even. So, and the processing to make cotton and bamboo into a fiber wastes so much water. That's the problem. Yes, bamboo is great because it grows super fast and you can get a super lot of biomass. And for some of the less processed products with bamboo, that's great. But to actually make it into material for shirts and sheets and whatever else takes a huge amount of water, just like cotton. And so any environmental benefits is instantly gone away, in my opinion. Oh, check out this pizza. So this is a pizza place in, I believe, Bath in the UK. Did I lose you? I didn't lose you, did I? There
No,
you
I
are.
do not have a picture of any.
Oh no, I didn't. Oh, did I not send the picture of a pizza?
Mm.
Anyway, man, I don't know what's going on with me. I don't know if I know. Well, no, because I sent the commercial over, so I thought I did. I don't know why these pictures aren't showing up.
I have the
Sorry,
ability
folks.
to make a couple of recipes.
Um, Interesting. I don't know what.
See,
But the picture a girl with a really funny look on her face and some hand movement. She's ordered the. There's a pizza place in the UK in Bath, um, and for a 2 pound upgrade, you can get a hemp crust. Um, and so the extra D in upgrade is for delicious. But she said it basically. She said it tasted a little earthy. I don't know what that means, but it was still doughy and good. And um, I had an opportunity for a brief amount of time from one of my food wholesalers that I was getting hemp stuff to get frozen hemp crust. Um, yeah, and I never did order it, and I kicked myself in the ass for that. But I just have to figure out how to make it myself because I make my own dough and I make my own bread. My first attempt at hemp bread was a complete failure, but I think that I just had the wrong flour. I don't know. I don't know. So anyway, uh, either way, what a great option. And again, it should be everywhere. It should be everywhere. And they once again don't really talk about. There it is.
found her.
They don't talk about the benefits. At least the article I had. There's the one. There's the one I believe. No, that's not it.
Mhm.
There was another one where she had a really funny look on her face, but I like that one too. But anyway, um, there's the thumbs up.
I cut that one off. It's
Yeah,
weird.
it doesn't really, and this might talk about it a little bit. That it doesn't talk about the nutritional value of the hemp dough or crust once it's baked. Uh, Either way. So, as particular, I hope to see, hopefully more and more pizza places here in the United States where we sell more and more pizza than anywhere else in the whole wide wig world. I mean, out of all the pizza places in all the places, Cincinnati, just like everywhere else, has a million. And everyone seems to be pretty accepting of the gluten. So here's my real point. Here is yet another food industry or a part of the food industry that you can get into right now. Frozen hemp crust, you know, to sell to pizza places to offer a hemp crust pizza. Again, you make your millions on it. This is like I've always said. I used to say I wanted a Porsche 911. Now I'm gonna have to come up with I don't know, the most hemp friendly electric vehicle. So whenever you make a bunch of money, just be like, Beach, which car do you want me to buy? And then I'll go find that one that has some hemp in it. I mean, even Kia has hemp in it. I've reported that. Not the, I don't, so I'll have to find one that has some. I would have to go with a BMW i series because it probably has the most amount of hemp of any of the vehicles that are on the road. All right, I made my decision. Go get rich on the pizza dough idea.
Mhm.
Get me a car lined with hemp. I feel like that's fair. Tell me it's not. Um, I did Modern Farmer. I talked about an article in Modern Farmer last week, which was brilliant. I just recommend maybe just going and reading all the articles that Modern Farmer has written, because they've got one now, reconsidering hemp a promising grain crop. Once again, though, great article, pretty much sums it all up, but they don't mention the nutritional value of hemp grain. They talk about how it's a good food product, but they don't back it up by saying this is why it's a great food product. It's not just a good food product, it's a great food product. So I was a little disappointed there. But other than that, again, doing a really good job of clearly explaining the inner workings of industrial hemp farming in the United States. So, and with a name like Modern Farmer, I'm happy to say, good job. You're holding up to your name. Because there really is no more modern farming than hemp right now. So thank you, Modern Farmer, for really doing a good job of educating, hopefully, future hemp farmers. So a peer-reviewed study showed that Chin Ma, which makes this one comes out of China, guarantee it, because it's China. Ma is the hemp word, or Ma is the word for hemp in Mandarin, and then the Chin part is China. But anyway, the cultivar removed 10 different PFAs that out of a toxic site. And this is what I think is cool, because I've always been asking this question, and I'm glad that science is finally helping me out here. What they found is it accumulates more in the leaves than the stems in the stalk. And they infer there that, once again, making those products, now we're making those products to make clothing or any other material, sheets, and using that stock to make houses. And then all we have to do is figure out basically how to dispose of those leaves, which is where those PFAs that have been pulled out of the ground were stored into. Um, Again, hemp as a phytoremediator is a proven subject. Once again, not making nearly as many headlines across the world as it should for all of the contaminated sites that the Industrial Revolution caused to our planet. And again, we caused it. I take as much credit as anybody else, as buying into the Industrial Revolution. And now it's up to us to change it. But we can't take 100 years to reverse what 100 years has done. 20 years, 130 of the 150 years for the Industrial Revolution. And again, I'm not a Luddite, but I am a realist. And as a realist, I realize we did it. Humans did it. So it's up to humans to undo it. And we can. We have the technology. The technology is hemp.
Yeah.
And so, and there was also, this is pretty interesting, a recent Belgian trial showed that hemp removed 67% of the PFAs in 4 months from a contaminated firefighting training site. So it's basically one crop. You plant one crop of hemp in your contaminated site, and it could reduce, it could take out 67%, 2/3, can remove 2/3 of the PFC in that soil, one crop. I just don't, again, how is this not being done everywhere? I mean, clean soil gets us clean food and clean water. And we all deserve that. And I'm going to keep fighting for clean soil because, once again, if we get the clean soil, then the other two just come along. And that's how it works. That's how it's going to work. How about these really fun hempcrete villas? Did I send that? Did I forget that picture too? Or did I have? No, that one came over. All right, good for me. This is on Bruny Island, Australia. There's only 300 residents, but apparently, the new villas that got approval. One of the reasons that they got approval was because they were using hempcrete. And Australia is starting to embrace hemp more and more every day as well, so it doesn't kind of surprise me there. But because of its cleanliness and earth friendliness and human friendliness, environmental friendliness, and all those things, you have these cute little cottages. And I don't know if those are going to be personally owned by residents or if those are like Airbnb villas that you can rent off on an island in Australia, which would be like super dope. Um, do a little New Zealand Australia hemp tour. Make this a stop. I want to definitely stay, in a hemp house on an island that only has 300 residents. I mean, I'm trying to separate myself from the grid as much as possible. I feel like that would be at least one good place to do it for a day or two. These might have to go up to the. They're gonna have to go on the list of when I win the lottery. If I had $1 million, I'd go stay in one of these villas. I'm gonna have to write a "If I Had $1 Million" version of hemp. Get with the bare naked ladies on that and see what they think. Because that green dress could be made out of hemp, and then it wouldn't be cruel. And that fur dress could be made out of hemp, and that wouldn't be cruel either. Not a real fur dress. That's cruel. If you don't know, that's "If I Had $1 Million" by Bare Naked Ladies. Very fun song. Dijon ketchups. Put some hemp in it. Anyway. That's my done to the homage of "If I Had $1 Million" by Bare Naked Ladies. So supposedly a study or a whatever, I don't know, 4 out of 5 marijuana consumers oppose the hemp THC ban, which is ironic because, in my opinion, 4 out of 5 marijuana sellers is totally for the THC ban. And in fact, one of the reasons why, in fact, I might even bump that up to 5 out of 5 THC sellers are totally for the hemp ban. Marijuana THC sellers are against it. So consumers are for it because guess what? Did you guess? Hemp from TH THC from hemp is cheaper. Uh, so anyway, and THCA from hemp is just as effective in flower form. And so that's why consumers are for it. They want to be able to go and buy it on in their corner store, at their gas station, whatever I know that's a big thing with people is they shouldn't be able to buy their THCA stuff or THC products at a gas station, and I've said it and I'm sticking to it because I am a capitalist and I am a consumer, and to be fair, I don't think that there should be any restrictions where any of this is sold. Yeah, say it's 21. That's fine. You know, um, I don't think it should be some stupid license like alcohol. It should be some like a minimal license, like a tobacco license. If anything, again, just to regulate that you are selling a product that you have to be 21 for. Um, you know, I think alcohol should, well, again, tobacco and alcohol are much more likely to kill you. So I think the license to sell those should be a lot higher.
Yeah.
But anyway, and again, the irony of how they want to put THC drinks in the hands of the alcohol industry regulators. And that's the stupidest shit ever, too. And that makes zero sense. Start a whole new branch of drink regulators if you need to. But THC should not be regulated by people that regulate alcohol. I mean, you're talking apples to arsenic as a comparison. There, not even close. Yet to be a death certificate signed saying that marijuana, hemp, THC, any of those things cause the death. Anyway, was having an interesting discussion last night. Argan oil and hemp and whatnot. In the discussion, it was brought up that the argan oil has a high concentrate of vitamin E. So I thought I'd go look how much vitamin E is in hemp seed, and 100 grams of hemp seed gives you 9%. Not a whole lot, but go look and see how much food. A lot of foods, who has the most amount of vitamin E, and compare that. And then, and so once again, 100 grams gives you 9%. So that's pretty decent. And the other thing is, and I was when we were talking about hemp seed and skin, and I brought up how hemp is its viscosity that makes it one of the best for human skin because it absorbs into the skin, doesn't go into the bloodstream. It stays, that hemp seed oil stays where you put it. And then the nutrients, the protein, the vitamins, the minerals, the omega-6, omega-3, all those nutrients go into your skin. Okay. And it allows your skin to breathe in the same manner. Well, I was educated on and I'm going to. She must have said it, I don't know, 10 times, and I wrote it down and I spelled it out, and I'm going to try to pronounce it correctly, but there's what's called the comedogenetic scale. And what this scale judges is how well or not well, from 1 to 5, a substance seals or absorbs, I should say, absorption rate. It's the absorption rate into the skin. And she said, I bet hemp's a 2. And she said, argan oil is a 0. She's like, it's one of the only, it's a 0. It's like, I bet hemp's like a 2. And I was like, no, I'm pretty sure hemp's probably going to be a 0. Honestly, it's got to be pretty low. Everything that I know about it and everything you're describing about what makes it so good. So of course we looked it up, and it was a 0. Which is good. It was good to be a 0. Even though just this week on Young Sheldon, somewhat unrelated, great show. Well, probably one of the best family sitcom shows ever, and you don't have to be into the Big Bang Theory to like it. If you grew up in the 80s and you're really smart, you're really going to like it, but all the characters are great. Anyway, the entire show was the argument that 0 doesn't exist. I mean, how can 0 be nothing? And it's a good argument, because if you recognize something, that makes it something. So how can something be nothing? But anyway, hemp is 0 on the comedogenetic scale, and I know I'm not pronouncing that correctly. It's basically comedogenic. That's how it's spelled. COMEDOGENIC. But anyway, hemp is a 0. 0 is a really good thing. It's good to be a 0 on this scale. It's great, actually. Best thing you can be is 0. So once again, now I have a scientific scale that agrees with everything that I have also said about and what I know about hemp oil and the skin. Excuse me. All right, well, let's go ahead and we're going to end the show again with a couple hemp nut recipes. So we'll go ahead and put these up here, leave them up here for a little while so you can do a screenshot. This one you could probably write down. Hemp Scream is, we used to sell Hemp Scream, ice cream. It was with an I Scream, hemp, cream. And I don't want to call it cream because it is more like a ice, the ice part of it. When you make it out of hemp milk. But this is basically just showing you how to make hemp milk, and then you got to make it in your put it in your ice cream maker, because that's pretty much it. And so, this is one of those things that if I had the resources, this is definitely something of a food that I would love to perfect and figure out how to mimic dairy-based ice cream more than anything, for the health of the nation, for the health of the world that eats ice cream. Because again, dairy is terrible, and ice cream may be some of the worst. And so, anyway. And I'm talking about from a health perspective. Science has proven that. So alternatives to dairy-based ice cream, it's much needed. And again, we're in the same place that we are, in my opinion, with, say, vegetative-based hemp burgers. All right. The vegans will eat them, and they won't really care how good or bad they taste. They just want it as an option for the most part. But in order for us to convince beef eaters or ice cream eaters to go with the better choice, it has to replicate that feel. So, I mean, it has, ice cream, hemp cream has to taste like your ice cream or feel like your ice cream in your mouth, just like a hemp hamburger or a hemp burger needs to feel like a real hamburger in order for us to convince the the people that need to switch over. The vegans will eat this shit up all day long as a choice. I don't doubt it. So right out of the gate, if you make a line of a hemp cream, here's another one, another $1 million idea, $1 million idea. Still want the same thing. Go get rich with a hemp cream recipe of your own. Um, and then, well, I mean, if you want to give, Richard Rose, hemp nut, the original, he started the entire hemp food industries basically in the United States 25, 30 years ago. Um, Publisher of Hemp Nut, where these recipes come from, I suppose, in this, he should get the electric BMW with hemp doors. But, you know, either way, I just sent you on the path. He came up with it to begin with. Not that I'm saying anybody can't Google hemp cream, ice cream recipes, but just remember who sent you on the path. Okay, the next one, and this is, I forget, zucchini casserole? Yeah.
Mhm.
Zucchini casserole. So, again, we'll leave this up here for a minute. And again, where you see hemp nut or hemp nut cheese alternative, then now the hemp nut cheese alternative might be a little bit harder, but there are some hemp cheeses out there online. If you really wanted to go that route. And then, of course, the hemp nut is what turned into uh, the hemp heart, as they're called mostly now. That middle part, the deshelled part of the hemp, where all the nutritional, for most of the nutritional value is. There is some extra fiber in the shell, but most of the nutritional value is in that hemp heart, which is what Richard Rose came up with first as a food product, and he called it hemp nut, which we sold in the stores back in the day. We never got the cheese products in because I think that was a refrigeration and shipping issue. But we sold most of the hemp nut dry goods, from the lip balm to the oil, the hemp seed oil, the hemp nut, all of those products. So anyway, okay. Well, as promised, I am now going to read for you the last paragraph or two of The Reign of Law, A Tale of Kentucky Hemp Fields by James Lane Allen. Published, let me go check and see when this one, published in 1900. I thought it was actually 1900 even in that year. Um, this is a first edition, once again published on or printed on hemp paper. So, the south wind, warm with the first thrill of summer, blew from across the valley, from across the mighty rushing sea of young hemp. O mystery immortal, which is in the hemp and in our souls, in its bloom and in our passions, by which our poor brief lives are led upward out of the earth for a season, then cut down, rotted, and broken for thy long service. There you have it. Hemp in life. our souls, our passions entwined with hemp. Oh, okay, folks, I'm sending you out in the world with that. I do appreciate you watching. If you're watching now live, thanks. If you're watching in the future, thank you as well. Spread the word. Tell everyone to subscribe to the Jedi Hemp channel. Um, and let's keep educating the world on hemp. And remember, reduce, reuse, recycle. Make everything else out of hemp. Having temptations.
See y'all next week.